Back to Couch Casual today. We are going to be doing our final division mock draft with the NFC North. It's the last division we have. The draft, as this video is coming out, or when this video is coming out, the draft is in 6 days. So we might do like a 3 round mock draft sometime soon, and then we'll obviously do our final official 1 round mock draft the day before the draft. But we got to get through our final division mock draft with the NFC North. So let's get into this NFC North mock draft. So the first pick isn't till Detroit at 17 because every team in this division won at least 9 games, I'm pretty sure. So obviously a lot of talent is off the board for Detroit. And the guy I like to them has been Monroe Freeling, but he's not only shot up the draft boards, I'm pretty sure, but Cincinnati took him at 10. I do like going O-line for Detroit because their tackle is Larry Borum at left tackle. Not great. So they need a new left tackle. Now, the left tackles are Freeling, Lomu, Proctor. Those are the top end left tackles. Is Lomu on the board still? Lomu is still on the board. He's 38 here. There's also Proctor, so I'm leaning towards Proctor or Lomu with this Detroit Lions 17th pick. They also could go edge rusher because they need somebody next to Aiden Hutchinson that's not DJ Wanham. They could honestly add some secondary help as well. I feel like the positions they're good at are linebacker, safety, and skill positions. They could maybe use some receiver help. Don't know why receivers aren't showing up on ESPN's depth chart, but we all know their receivers are basically just Amon-Ra St. Brown. I have all these. Okay, they show up on all the other teams. Let me try refreshing the website. Okay, there they are. There's the Lions receivers. So they could use some help at skill positions, but not really. It's just O-line, edge rusher, and corner, in my opinion. Jermon McCoy is here. So is Avion Terrell, but I think O-line is a major need. You saw when Detroit built up their O-line, that's when they really became good. They obviously got talent everywhere else, but it feels like the ascendance of the Lions came with their O-line getting good. And you saw last year with their O-line being bad / injured, they weren't as good. So I'm going to go O-line here, whether it's Proctor or Lomu. I don't think it matters too much. I mean, I think Ionacher, I need to look up what position on the O-line he plays because he could be an interesting pick here too. He is a right tackle. Now, could he translate to left tackle? Who knows? You never really know if a tackle is going to be able to play the other side in the NFL, but they don't need a right tackle. They have the best right tackle in football in Penei Sewell. So I'm going to go, you know what? I'm going to go Caden Proctor at pick 17 to the Lions as their next Taylor Decker replacement. And next we have the Minnesota Vikings at 18. The guy that's been really rumored to go there, I think, is Tiedemann, but the Panthers ended up trading up to pick 9 to draft him. So he's off the board. I do like corner here to the Vikings, right? Because their corners aren't great, just simply put it. There is Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, though. They could go with Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. I don't hate that pick. I like Emmanuel McNeil-Warren as that number 2 safety, or I guess number 3. But Caleb Downs is right here. It makes no. He's not making it to 18. So I'm not gonna pick him. I know I try not to worry about if a player's gonna make it, but there's no way Caleb Downs falls to Minnesota at pick 18. So I'm just not gonna take him. I think it's between. Yeah, because again, their secondary is just not good. They could go O-line too, to be honest, but they're more interior, like center. It's the website says they need center the most. Looking at their O-line, they definitely need center the most, so that's out of the realm of possibility. I'm gonna go with. You know what? I haven't taken Avion Terrell in the first round in any of these mock drafts, so I'm gonna mix it up and I'm gonna go Avion Terrell to the Vikings at 18. But it's between him, um, McCoy, and McNeil Warren. Bears are up at 25. It's got to be D tackle, right? They could go O line too, though, because I know they traded for Garrett Bradbury because Drew Dahlman retired. They still could go O line. Outside of center, they don't need anything on offense. I'm confident in their offense, especially being in year two with Ben Johnson. I think their offense will get even better. It's got to be defense. Their edge rushers are pretty solid with Odiengbo, Austin Booker, and Montez Sweat. Their secondary is pretty good, especially because they signed Kobe Bryant as well. It's D tackle. It's Javon Dexter and Grady Jarrett. And I think it's got to be Caden McDonald here. I mean, I guess you could go Peter Woods. Peter Woods is an option. Even Caleb Banks. You could go one of those two guys. But Caden McDonald, I think, is the easy. I think he's easily going to be the first D tackle taken. But I could see it being Banks or Peter Woods. But I think Caden McDonald likely is going to be the first D tackle taken. And that is the biggest need for the Bears. So I'm going to go with Caden McDonald to Chicago at 25. Minnesota is back up on the clock. They went with Mr. Avion Terrell at pick 18. It kind of sucks because now there's guys like Abney and Pond they could take here. And they could have taken McNeil Warren. But again, I wanted to be different and go with Avion Terrell. However, I do see that Caleb Banks has made it to the second round, which is surprising to me. Because if you look at the Vikings D tackle room, it's Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, Jalen Redmond, and Levi Drake Rodriguez. To be honest, I'm not too familiar with any of these three guys. So I'm going Caleb Banks to Minnesota at pick 49. I think that's a pretty easy pick. I've had him go to them in the first round in my mock drafts before, like mid-season mock drafts. I literally had the Vikings take Caleb Banks with their first round pick, and they get him at 49. Detroit is back up at 50. They got their left tackle in Caden Proctor, another team that could use corner, like we said, with Pons and Abney on the board. They could use corner. They could just keep going at that O-line and getting a guard. But you drafted Tate Ratledge, I think in the first round. Or not first round, but like high. You signed Cade Mays. I guess you could replace Mahogany at guard. Is there any guards worth taking though? You got Keelan. You can get the Rutledges. You can have Tate Ratledge and Keelan Rutledge. I don't know if you take him at 50 though. I'm thinking you go with there is R. Mason Thomas and Gabe Jackas. Never mind. I might go R. Mason Thomas here. Is it R. Mason Thomas or is it Gabe Jackas? I think I'm gonna lean R. Mason Thomas. Because again, they need pass rush help. It's just DJ Wanham next to Aiden Hutchinson. And also their D line, their defense as a whole, but their D line seems to always be injured. Aiden Hutchinson's had some injuries. I know it was more of a major injury, if anything, but still. I'm going to go R. Mason Thomas to Detroit at 50. I think it's their next biggest need outside of left tackle is a pass rusher, and he was one of the best players available. Makes perfect sense. Green Bay is up at 52. They didn't have a first round pick because they traded it for Micah Parsons, so this is their first selection. Another team that could use help at the tackle position. You got Zach Tom, who you like, but then you have Jordan Morgan at your left tackle, but I'm pretty sure he played a lot of left guard for them, or just guard in general. Let me quickly look up Jordan Morgan's snaps. Because I'm pretty sure he played guard for them when he did play. Because they had Rasheed Walker and they had Zach Tom as their tackles. Yeah, Morgan played right guard the most. So you could draft a tackle and then continue to play Jordan Morgan at guard if you want to. Now, if they go tackle, they need a left tackle. And the best tackle is Caleb Tiernan, who I'm pretty sure plays left tackle. or at least he played it in college. I think when I drafted him before, it says like he can kind of play everything. Yeah, his primary position at Northwestern was left tackle. So I think I'm going to go Caleb Tiernan here out of Northwestern to the Packers. They desperately need help on that offensive line. They're kind of good at most other positions, right? Like receivers, they don't need to draft another first round receivers. They have way too many receivers. Quarterback, they're good. Running back, they're good. Tight end, they're good. Their defense is pretty good. They don't need a lot, but tackle is something they need, and mainly left tackle. And Caleb Tiernan is right here, so we're gonna go Caleb Tiernan to the Packers at what was that pick 52. Bears are up at 57. They also have pick 60, so they got Caden McDonald with their first round pick. So now where do we go here? If you're Chicago, do we go safety to get a guy next to Kobe Bryant if you don't like Cam Lewis? Do we go with some linebacker help, maybe another receiver, even though you got Dunze and Burden? But I guess outside of Dunze and Burden, it's really just Khalif Raymond and I guess Jade Walker. They still could look for a center, a long-term replacement, a long-term option at center. But I think Connor Liu and Sam Hecht and even Jake Slaughter, one of them has got to be available at pick 89. So I'm going to hold off on center for Chicago. There is Chris Brazell out of Tennessee to give you a big body receiver alongside Luther Burden and Dunze. Is there any good safeties? Kamari Ramsey out of USC, probably not a guy you take at 57. They could go edge rusher and go Malachi Lewis because their edges are Sweat, Dexter, or Sweat, Odeyingbo, and Booker. I'm pretty sure Austin Booker had a pretty solid year last year, at least like end of the year / playoffs. But Montez Sweat is getting up there in age. He is 29. I don't know his contract. Let me quickly look up Montez Sweat's contract. He is not a free agent, so I guess there's not a desperate need to go pass rusher, even though Malachi Lewis is still very good. But him and Brazil might both be available at pick 60. So I'm going to go with the better player on the board. I'm going to go Malachi Lewis at 57. And then at pick 60, look who's there. It's Chris Brazell, the second out of Tennessee. Great second round if you're the Bears, in my opinion. Next, back up is Minnesota. They got their corner in Avion Terrell. They got their D tackle in Caleb Banks. In my opinion, two of their bigger needs. Now, the website says they could go halfback, which I actually don't mind because they don't have a young halfback. It's just, I don't have some halfback. A young running back, it's just older Aaron Jones and older-ish Jordan Mason. Receiver's not a terrible pick, I don't think. Still could go safety. We didn't give him a safety last time. Kamari Ramsey's right here out of USC. I think you got to go Kamari Ramsey, right? You didn't go safety, right? You missed out on Tiananmen. You didn't go McNeil Warren, so you didn't go look at safety. And Kamari Ramsey is very good value at 82. So we're going to go Kamari Ramsey. Packers are up at 84. They got Caleb Tiernan with their first pick. So their O-line is set for next year. Corner's a big need. Traden Stukes. I like Traden Stukes as well. They really need, their best corner is Keyshawn Nixon. I think I like Traden Stukes here. I'm not thinking twice. Traden Stukes. Easy pick for the Packers at 84. Chicago, like we said, has pick 89. Genesis Smith is there. I was hoping Kamari Ramsey would fall, but Minnesota actually ended up taking him. I ended up taking him for Minnesota. Still could go Genesis Smith, though. It's not the end of the world to have Genesis Smith. Who else would they go? They probably wouldn't go with Grayson Halton. They don't need a D tackle. They could go Sam Heck, though. I did say that there was some good centers that would likely be available, and one of them is in Sam Hecht out of Kansas State. So we're going to go Sam Hecht as their future center because I think Bradbury's not their long-term answer. I would doubt that Bradbury is their long-term answer. Minnesota is up at pick 97. They got their safety, their corner, and their D tackle. All defense so far for Minnesota. They could go running back. They could go Mike Washington Jr. out of Arkansas. Probably the only running back you're taking there. They don't need another corner. They probably don't need a guard. I think it's between Ted Hurst, Jonah Coleman, and Mike Washington. So I'm going to go Mike Washington Jr. out of Arkansas to Minnesota. Their running backs are just Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. They need some juice, some youth at that position. Detroit is up at 118. They have a lot of 4 to 5 round picks here. 4 of them, to be exact. We already got them a tackle and an edge rusher. So that takes care of those 2 big, big needs. They need guard. Billy Schroth is here out of Notre Dame. I don't hate that pick at all. It says they need D tackle. Who are their D tackles? Aleem McNeil is their main guy. Yeah, I don't mind D tackle either. Caleb Proctor's here at 111. Let's see. So if we other D tackles are what's their next pick? Their next pick is 128. Landon Robinson will probably be available. Him and Chris McClellan will probably be available at 128. And then guard wise, it's a pretty big drop off. So I'm gonna go Billy Schroth now and hoping that one of those D tackles makes it there at their next pick. Packers are back up at 120. They got a tackle, they got a corner. They don't need a receiver. The website says receiver. They don't need a receiver. I don't mind D tackle. Yeah, I don't mind D tackle at all. There's Caleb. We could go Caleb Proctor. I was just talking about him with Detroit, and I think that's where I'm actually going to go. It says they also need edge rusher, but I think they might want to. They still have They still have Lucas Van Ness. I don't know how much they believe in Lucas Van Ness at this point. So I'm gonna hold off on edge, and we're gonna go Caleb Proctor D tackle to pair alongside Devontae Wyatt. And Detroit, we mentioned this earlier. It was between a guard or a D tackle. We went with the guard because there was a drop off, but there wasn't as bad of a drop off in D tackle. So we're gonna go with Landon Robinson out of Navy to Detroit. Chicago is up with their last pick in this mock draft. They got the D tackle, edge, receiver, and center. That's all their needs according to this website outside of safety. But we're not going to go safety. I would go pass rusher, but we already got a Malachi Lewis. They don't need Carson Beck. Did we get him a corner? We didn't get him a corner. It's not a huge need, but at this point, there's not a lot of guys here that they do need. They could go Bryce Botcher because their linebacker room is an older TJ Edwards and Devin Bush. So maybe they go Bryce Botcher out of Oregon. It's him or Takario Davis out of Washington. Interesting. I think I'm going to go with the better player and go with Takario Davis at corner. Long time till our next pick. It's Green Bay at 153. They got a tackle, corner, D tackle. Now is this where we go? You know what? It's got to be edge rusher. There's Mason Rieger, who went to Wisconsin, and Green Bay is up at pick 153. They could go with Mason Rieger, but they also go with Nadame Tucker out of Western Michigan. Honestly, I don't mind getting another corner for them. Their cornerback room is so bad. I really don't hate going another corner. So I'm actually going to go with Devin Marshall at NC State. Detroit is up at 157. Tackle, edge, guard, and D tackle. It says they need safety. They got Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch. I don't think they need safety. They don't need O-line anymore. We got both guard and tackle taken care of. Do we add some receiver help? They could add some receiver Because, yeah, obviously you got J-Mo and Amon-Ra and Isaac Tesla. But outside of that, once you get past those three guys, you don't really have a lot. So we'll go with Cyrus Allen out of Cincinnati. Green Bay is up at 160 with their last pick of the mock draft. Kind of gotten everything, all their needs. Who's their backup running back? It's Chris Brooks, Marshawn Lloyd, Pierre Strong. So I don't think they need to go Singleton. Yeah, probably not. We already got him D tackle. Do they need any linebacker or safety help potentially? I mean, they could maybe go with another linebacker, to be honest. Safeties are really good. McKinney and Evan Williams is a very good safety duo. So I'm thinking Caleb Alarms or Nick Singleton. And you know what? I'm going Nick Singleton out of Penn State. Minnesota is now at their last pick. Kind of covered all their big needs. Not really a lot of directions you could go here. I guess it says they need center. There is Pat Coogan out of Indiana. Do they need tight end depth? I feel like they do need tight end depth. Yeah, they need tight end depth. And they're look at all the best players. Three of the top six remaining are tight ends. Nate Boerkircher, Joe Royer, and Eli Raradon. 6'5" for Nate Boerkircher. You got Joe Royer, also 6'5", Cincinnati. He's got a shorter. He's not as bigger body in terms of like arm size. It looks like Eli Raradon. He's a he's a big guy. I'm gonna go with Eli Raradon to Minnesota at 163 to give them some more tight end depth outside of Hawkinson. And the Lions actually have the last pick in the entire fifth round at 181. Same thing here at this point. We've kind of taken care of all their big needs. Do we just give them another corner? We haven't given them a corner yet. Let's give them a corner because we got Thaddeus and Dixon out of UNC, or you got Hezekiah Massis out of Cal. You know what? I'm gonna go with Hezekiah Massis. They're very similar in terms of like the board. I'll go Hezekiah Massis just because I like the name. And that will conclude our NFC North mock draft. The Lions got a B draft grade with Caden Proctor, R. Mason Thomas, Billy Schroff, Landon Robinson, Cyrus Allen, and Hezekiah Massis. The Vikings got an A- with Avion Terrell, Caleb Banks, Kamari Ramsey, Mike Washington Jr., and Eli Raradon. The Bears got a B+ with Caden McDonald, Malachi Lewis, Chris Brazell, Sam Hecht, and Takario Davis. And then the Packers also got a B+ with Caleb Tiernan, Traden Stukes, Caleb Proctor, Devon Marshall, and Nicholas Singleton. And that will conclude not only our NFC North mock draft, but our final division mock draft as a whole. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.